Welcome back everybody to our C++ text RPG series. So where we left off last time is we finished up, let's build real quick. We finished up the menu. Well, we didn't finish it up, but we got a bit further. We can select, if we hit M, we can go into our menu. You can go up and down. We can't select any of these right now, but we'll get to that. So today we're going to be getting into, instead of hard coding all the items that we have, or the items that we want, we're going to want to have a way to load those in. And we're going to be using XML for that. So we're going to be using XML. So here's a good little website here that shows you a bit more. So it's W3 Schools. What is XML? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. XML is a markup language much like HTML. It was designed to store and transport data, and that's what we need. And it was designed to be self-descriptive. Very simple. If you look like this here, it's going to be like note to, from, and then it'll have the data inside. So how are we going to parse this data? We're going to be using this here, tiny XML library. So the link will be in the description for this. But we're using tiny XML2. And what that does, it does all the parsing and stuff for us and has some wonderful functions. And it also has some great documentation. I do recommend using it. And how are we going to be getting that in? It says right down here for installation. You can use the VC package if you want, but it says right here, generally speaking, the intent is you simply just include these two files in your project. They're not too big files, so we'll just go up here to those two files. Tiny HTML. We'll go to raw and we'll copy all of this. And in our here, let's open up our, instead of source, let's open up make a new folder. New folder, and we'll call this the libs folder, or the libraries. And we'll have another folder inside of that. And we're just going to call this tiny XML2. Inside of tiny XML2, we're going to create the H file. It's tiny XML2.h, and then we're just going to paste that in there. Awesome. So go back to the top here, and then we're going to do it again, and this is going to be tiny XML2.cpp, and let's go back to the website. Now we want the CPP file. Go to the raw, copy that, and paste. Beautiful. So now we have those. Those are automatically included because we created them. So right here they're included. We're also going to want to actually have the license. So let's go new, and we'll just go license.txt, and let's go copy the license. Because you have to give credit where credit is due. I'm not the creator of the tiny XML library. Here, the license, raw, and copy the license as well. Okay, so we have the license. And what I like to do is this as well, is go here, go to our properties, C++ directories, and let's go to all configs for this. And we're going to want to go to our include directories. And I'm going to want to include these libs. Tiny XML. And we can get rid of this here. And we can add solution dir, or solution directory. Now we should be able to include those wherever we need. So the first thing we're going to want to make is the parser. So I just called this parser.h. we're going to have different types of files that we're going to want to be parsing that give us different types of items, like different equipment, different items, or even the players themselves or characters, enemies. We're going to want to be loading those from files. So we're going to have a parser, and it's going to be a template class. First thing we're going to need, we're going to want to include our tiny XML. Then we're going to include memory and string. And then we're going to do our template, type name T, and it's going to be a class parser. We're going to have some protected. And some public functions. And the protected is going to be std, unique pointer, tiny XML2, and it's going to be our XML document. Now, I usually like to use the using tiny XML namespace. However, in the header file, I don't want to use it, or anytime you're trying to get the document, because Windows has its own XML document, so they will conflict with each other. So for now, we'll just keep it like that. So that's an MP doc. You can call it XML doc. Yeah, we'll call it XML doc. Yeah. MP XML doc. Okay. And then down here, we're going to have our virtual destructor. And then we're going to have tiny XML2. This is going to be our load file, and it will return an error, an XML error. On that element. Load file. And it'll take const std string reference file path, and we'll just do that right here. Return mp doc, oh, XML doc, I forgot we already changed the name, XML doc load file, and that will be the file path, and it takes a file pointer, which it would be a .c string. So this file itself returns, if you look there, it returns your XML error. So if I'm returning this, the load file will return the error. And we're going to have two virtual pure functions, std shared pointer t, create object from file, const std string reference object name equal to 0, and that one's good for now. We're gonna have another one for saving, but we'll do that later because we're not interested in saving anything right now. To do save the data. Okay, beautiful. So we have our parser now. So let's create our item loader. The item loader is what's going to load our items for us. But before we create the item loader, we need to know what our file is going to look like that we're going to be parsing, so we know how to parse it. So first thing we're going to do up here, we're going to create another folder, and we'll call this one assets. And inside of assets, we'll create another file. Actually, hold on, sorry. Let's create another folder. Inside of this folder, it's going to be XML files. And inside of XML files, we will have another file, and this one will just be, we'll call it item defs.xml. Let's get rid of this pragma once. And so XML is just like HTML. So you'll have your opener and closer. So item file is what we'll call it. yeah, item file. And then, actually, let's change that from item file to item defs. We know it's a file. So you see the opener and the closer has that backslash. And then inside of item defs, we're going to have items. And instead of our items, we're going to have the item itself. Now, if you're using something like Visual Studio, it'll automatically create the closer for you once you finish doing the opener. So what do items have? Items have a name, they have a description, they have the type, they have the value, and they have the buy price. What we call the value is like the attack power, the healing power, the defense power. That's our value. So instead of having all those different words in there, we're just going to use value because it's easier. So name. And the first one, let's just call it a potion. Then we're going to have our description. Then our type is the health type. Our value. And then our buy price. And we'll just call this 50. We don't have to have a sell price because we're automatically going to set our sell price to just half the buy price. And we'll copy this. And we'll just call this one high potion. Heals a good amount. Health, this one will heal 250 and its buy price will be 300. And then the last one we'll just call it an ultra potion. And then this one will just completely heal all party members. Health type, value, we'll just put this as a -1, because if it has a -1, we'll have it so that it heals everyone. And then the buy price, 30,000. So if you're looking at this here, you see we have, oh, I forgot to copy this. So this had to be, so we're going to need that for each one. Because each item is individual. Yeah, sorry about that. So each item is individual. And if you're looking at this here, we have 3 different items. So what it's going to do is going to check to see if we have the file. It's going to check for items, and it's going to be inside of items, and it's going to take each item. So it's going to be a while loop, and it's going to keep moving next. You'll see as we get into Tiny XML2 how it works. So with that, we're going to need another utility function. Because this is, the type is a string. However, our item type is an enum. So we're going to need to be able to convert the string type back, or the text type back, into an enum. So we'll do that inside of our utilities. So utilities, right down here. So we'll start some new ones. And we're going to have to include item. Item.h. And from there we can include item. Item type. Item type from string. And I'll take a const std string reference item type. And we'll make this. So that's basically going to be item type, health. So if item item type is equal to health. And then the other one, I believe it's revive. Yep, revive. So we'll call this revive as well. Status effect. Yep. Status effect. Battle. Is there another one? Yeah, I think it's key item. And then if there's nothing, we'll return back not an item. Or no type. Beautiful. So that's pretty straightforward. So we're taking in a string, checking to see what the string is. If it's not one of these types, we return back no type. Beautiful. So now let's start our item loader. We might as well just keep this in utilities. And new item loader.h, and that's going to need item.h, and then we're also going to need the parser.h, and this is a new class, and we'll call it the item loader. And that's going to be a child of the parser of type item, because parser was a template. So a template class. We're going to have a string file path. And we're going to have some public. We're going to have the item loader. Our destructor. And then we have to override that function. So it's a std shared pointer of item. Create object from file const std string reference object name, and this is an override. So we're overriding this function right here. So we'll make these as well. So we're going to need some things in here as well. We're going to need our utilities, and we're going to need our item creator. Remember the item creator that we made before? We're going to need that. And did we make any items yet? Yes, we did. We made the potion. And we're going to need the potion. And we're going to put assert. We're going to have some asserts in here. Now with asserts, they only work in debug. They are ignored in release mode, but it's great for debug. So using namespace tiny XML2. We're doing that because we don't want to have to put tiny XML2 for every single thing. We'll only put it for a doc. Okay, so our loader, let's initialize our file path, ms file path, file path, and we're going to want to go m p XML doc std make unique. Tiny XML2 XML document, not declaration, document. All right. So here we had that as a unique pointer. There's nothing to do here. Okay, so here's the juicy part. So the first thing I'm going to want to do, we're going to want to load the file. The load file function right here will take in our file path and load it and return an XML error. So if we're here, we go if load file ms file path is not equal to XML success. So we're going to want to get the error p XML doc error string and we're going to want our JRPG error, so we're going to need to include our logger as well. JRPG error, failed to load item file, and we're going to want that file path. And then we're going to want to return null pointer. All right, why is that not liking me right now? File path. So if we fail to load the file, we're just going to return null pointer. So the file that we're loading is going to be our item defs. So we're going to load all of our items. So we basically have all our item defs, and we're going to be sending in the name of the item we want. That's what this is for. So the item loader will always have the item defs. Well, should always have the item defs. So the first thing we're going to do now is get the root element. The root element is our first. So let's go back. This would be our root element here. So I think, yeah, that is root element. So that's how you do comments in XML. It's the same as HTML. So get root element. And to do that, we need to get a XML element pointer. And we'll call that p root element. And you do that with p XML doc root element. So that gets us the root element. So we're going to want to check now. If not root element, we're going to want to do the same thing here. And we're going to change the names. Failed to get the root element. That'll give us our error. Now we're just going to return a null pointer. Now we're going to want to get, the next is we're going to want to get the items here. So we're going to want to get these items. Get the items. So it's the same idea. So XML element pointer. Sorry, p items is equal to p root element. Find, it's not liking me today, first child element, and that's going to be items. So it's taking in this string here, or a const char pointer, so it's a string, and it's looking for that. And if it comes back with that, if you didn't spell this right, it's going to end up being null pointer. So we're going to check again. If not p items. Fail to get the items. And should we, yeah, we might as well get the error again, just so you always have it. Okay, so once we got the items, we're now getting into the area where we're going to be looping, and we're going to want to loop. So we're going to get the first item. Okay. So we get the first item, and then as we loop, we'll be going to the next sibling item, and we'll keep going until the sibling is null pointer. Get the first item. And we get that one from p items. We want the first child element, and this is just called item. Check to see if that's null. And we'll just say fail to get the first item. We'll create a shared pointer of an item. We'll just call that new item. And we'll just set that to null pointer because we're going to be using this lower. So now we've gotten here and we have our item. So we're going to now loop while p item. So while p item is not null pointer, we're going to loop. The first thing we're going to want to do is get the name. XML element pointer, and we'll call that p name is equal to p item first child element name. Check to see if it doesn't exist. Not p name. Get these errors. Failed to get the item name. However, if we do have it, we're going to want to now check to see if it's the object that we want. So we're going to say we have to go get the name. Let's say item name. And item name, so std string name is equal to p and name get text. And then we're going to check if name is not equal to object name. We're going to want to move to the next element, or the next sibling element. So p item is equal to p item next sibling element, and that will be another item. And then continue. We don't want to go any further, we want to come back to the top. So if it is the same, we're going to want to now get the type. Get the type. Let's say item type. And we're going to go XML element pointer, p type is equal to p item, first child element, type, you don't have to put all this error checking if you don't want, but I think it makes sense to me. So now that we've got the type, we're going to want to get the type from that string, okay? So we're actually going to want to make a type. We'll call item type is equal to item type from string, and that string is going to be a p type, get text. Now we need to get the description, the item description. Now you can have it where you don't need the description or you don't want the description. I'm going to make it so you have to have the description or you return null pointer. pdesc, p item, okay, so now that we have the item description, it comes back as a const char. So I'm going to want to change that const char to a wide string. So let's go std wstring and we'll call it desk is equal char to wide. That's one of the utility functions that we made before. And it's pdesc get text. And now we're going to want to get the value. Get the item value. P item. Fail to get the item value. So now we're going to go int value is equal to ATOI ASCII to integer p value get text, and then we say if value is less than -1, then that's nothing to us. We don't want that. We're going to want to return null pointer. And we'll have an error as well. This one is our error. It's not an XML error. And it will be like item value below minimum. All right, so the last thing we need to get is the buy price. So let's get the item buy price. That's the same idea. So XML element pointer p buy price p item the buy price. Oh, I thought I still had that in my cache. Let's take this, copy it all. P buy price, failed to get the item buy price. And now we want to do the same thing. Int buy price is equal to ATOI P buy price get text, and we're going to do a check if buy price is less than 0. Return null pointer, and we'll do JRPG error item by price was below 0. You might not want it like that. Maybe we'll just put below 1, because then we know that this worked. That's what we'll do. It was below 1. Cool. So we have everything that we need there. We have our name. We have our, let's go back to our defs. So we have the name, description, type, value, and buy price. So we can now use, if you remember, we have the item creator. We can use this here, the create item. So we only have the one, which is the potion. So let's go back here, and we can just return that. So return item creator, create item, and that is our type, char to wide, name.cstring. We could have done that up there, but I forgot. Value, buy price, and the type as well, again. And if we get to here, we did not create an item. So if we get here, object name does not exist. And then we're going to have to assert our new item. Whoops. Well, we don't have to assert, but that'll just stop it there for us. I think we can just do this, makes more sense. Would your new item is equal to this. We don't have to do this. There we go. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So for fun, we're gonna try this out real fast to see if it works. Let's put a breakpoint right here and go to game state. I guess we could just do it as temporary. So let's go to this here. And we'll just do it in the on enter. And we'll, first thing we're gonna need to do is include that. So let's include our utilities, item loader. And inside of item loader, we should be able to do that. So let's go on enter. Item loader, IL, and so where is that? It is our this one here, and our path is assets, XML files, item defs. So assets, and then I'm going to want to go auto item is equal to IL dot, and I want to create the potion. and we'll run it. Let's hopefully build. Oh no! Potion, not. That makes sense. So it doesn't know what a potion is. Probably could have forward declared that. All right, so we stopped here. That's where I put my breakpoint. Now let's go in. See if we load our file. We loaded it fine. Create a root element. We got a root element. Got our items. So it's inside, checking the name. Bang, pname exists. Let's see what that is. Pname is equal to potion, so I bet you it's gonna work. Just hit continue. Came to here. Return a new item. No, it's an empty item. It's not what we want. So that didn't work. We need to see why. My item creator didn't work. Let's go back to game state. Let's just go assert item. What did I not send in right? Oh, potion doesn't take in the type. So that's the problem right here. So it didn't construct because the potion doesn't take in the type. So we're forwarding the arguments, but if it doesn't, if we go back to our item creator, so if these arguments don't work right here in the create, if it's not part of the constructor, so constructible from looks for its destructible and constructible. If it's not constructible from the arguments that we give it, it's going to just return null pointer. So let's go back to our item loader and remove this. Let's see our potion constructor again, just to make sure. Yeah, so name, description, health, buy price. And we'll go in. So return new item. Yay! So what is it? Health, count of 1, potion, heal, blah, blah, blah. And continue. Awesome. So we created a new potion. Heals a small amount of health, max count, all the beautiful things that we wanted. And that's coming right from our XML file. So that's how you make an easy parser using tinyXML for our items class. Or not our items class, but for our item loader. And the next video we make, we're going to get into the equipment loader. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And leave a comment below. If there's anything that you think I could fix or go over again, please let me know. Have a great day. Bye.